So by spend less, I actually meant spend lots. Welcome back to my channel, and today I'm bringing you the April update for my spend less year. And if you have been following along on my Instagram, you may know there's an elephant currently sitting in this room in the shape of a Mini Cooper S. So what happened and why did I end up with a new car? So I have no excuses, and in reality this purchase was breaking my spend less year considerably, because though I had not specifically put into my rules no new cars, it was kind of a given considering it wasn't on my allowed list either. But I digress, because in fact I got a new car. And to be honest with you, not only did I get a new car, but so did my husband. So how did this come about, considering I am on a spend less year? So long story short, my husband wanted a new ute. He's wanted one for quite a while since we traded in our last ute. So he wanted a new one. And I was happy to go down the route of trading in our current daily driver and just sticking with a ute, our dog run around work car, and our rally car. But considering I have been the one who has been using our current daily driver, which is a V8 Commodore, my husband did not think that this was a fair outcome. And we looked at our money and our budgets and the amount that we could consider using, spending, etc. And we come up with the idea that if it was for the right price, we would each get a new car. Things just seemed to fall into place really quickly, and he got his dream ute and I ended up with my dream Mini, which I will put a picture up here. Isn't it the cutest? But what about our current daily driver? Considering the amount of money we would get for a Holden V8 Commodore SS, and if we traded it in, and considering how much it's worth if we kept it, we made the decision, because our current budget allowed it, to keep all of them. So I'm currently sitting here owning 5 cars, which is incredibly ridiculous when there's only 2 of us, but our budget allowed for it and I do not regret our decision. In saying that, it is almost needless to say that a new car was not in my original budget plans for this year. I was aiming to get a new iPhone and an Apple Watch, and instead I bought a new car. Does that mean the purchase for the iPhone/Apple Watch has been put on hold? And that answer is yes, for the time being. I do not know if we will actually get it before the end of the year, but at this current point it is on hold for this moment. Especially considering that coming into May, it is the time for me to pay for new netball shoes, a new sports bar, and my netball registration fees. So apart from this massive ridiculous blowout when it comes to my spend less year, how have I been going in the not buying things? I have improved from last month. I have not purchased any more makeup since my last fall off the wagon. However, I've been having trouble getting back on board with the not buying takeaway coffee. I think one of the drivers for me to continually purchase this takeaway coffee is the habit of it, the drive to do it. I come into work, I get my coffee, I sit down. And yes, I could be making my own, but I seem to have lost the drive to do it myself. I've fallen off that bandwagon and I have not yet been able to claw my way back onto it. I will say I'm happy I didn't then fall off the wagon completely in regards to makeup books, etc., and fall down that path and go, I've already broke my rules, I might as well just keep going. Though, as you can probably tell, that is something I have done in regards to the coffee. I will say, yes, I bought a new car, but overall I don't feel like that is actually a breakage of my rules, because that money did not come from my side budget that this whole project as such is based around. It was out of our joint funds and our joint savings. So the main budget, as I said in my introduction video, that I'm trying to save money in is my weekly allowance. And I can say that in some aspects I'm doing okay, but then in others I've just fallen off the bandwagon big time. So I think I'm in the need of a restructure. Maybe not necessarily a restructure of my whole entire no-buy, my whole entire spendless year, but maybe just a restructure in how I handle this money and how I segment it out. Because the current format is obviously not working, and I just can't manage to scrounge my way back into being on even ground. So I am a stickler for new beginnings. So what is my plan at this point? I'm going to continue as I am in May. My aim is to cut back on the takeaway coffee, but also my goal is to get off the list some of those allowed items, get those purchases done, so then I can start afresh without these purchases hanging over me, without any amounts of debt to say that I've kind of put off in saying I'll pay that bill later. I want to basically even out everything that I have going on and start afresh, because those things are definitely causing turmoil in my small allowance that I'm allowed, and are meaning that I am reaching across into our joint savings and our joint budget, which is not negatively affecting that budget in any way, but I want to aim to be able to leave that budget alone and focus purely on my little allowance I've got and save as much money as I can from that as well, to use that in a way that is sustainable and fun, which may mean I need to look at reassessing some of my rules. And yes, takeaway coffee is a big Debbie Downer on my spend less year, which means I should be reviewing that rule, because is this doable? I originally had in it that I would allow myself to have sit in coffee or sit in takeaway food, sit in dinner out, those kind of options where they're more of a event rather than purely purchasing a coffee, which I would like to still allow, but I need to maybe review the rules around this idea of no takeaway items, because obviously in its current state it is not at this point doable for me. And by continuing along with my same rules, I am essentially setting myself up to fail. So the next 2 months, both May and June, are going to be me figuring out how I would like to continue for the next 6 months of the year, and hopefully get myself on a better keel when it comes to my spendless year. For me, it's not about purely being frugal and saving money, but creating a sustainable spending habit that I can continue into years to come. So yes, at this point, I will say my spend less year rules have been on a slow decline, down and down, because we are currently in the process of definitely losing sight of the current bandwagon. So I'm going to have to readjust and create myself a new wagon. Now, as you know, I'm a big reader, and before starting this no spend year, I did read My Year of Less by Kate Flanagan. If you're interested in more of my feels regarding that book, go back and look at my monochromatic year book edition from 2020, and also my introduction video for this project. but I think I'm in need of more inspiration. So if you have any books regarding the topic of spend less years or minimalism or decluttering or saving money in the aspect of eliminating the purchasing of specific objects, please let me know your recommendations down below. And if they are available from one of my libraries, I will definitely give it a read, because one of my rules is to not buy any more books. And currently, apart from that one slip up a couple months ago, I am maintaining that rule. So with all that being said, we are going to finish this update here. So I'm Verity. That was the April update to my Spend Less year, and now to the outro.